Good evening, everyone. Welcome to all of you to our Blue Jay Athletic Alumni Reunion. What a great turnout we have. I think Ben said we have 160 or something like that, so it's a great turnout. Glad to see you all. My name is Helen Walton Ebersole. I'm in the class of 1969, and I'm happy to be serving as your Blue Jay Athletic Association president. The mission of our group is to purposefully engage its members to establish a vibrant network of individuals who are dedicated to fostering and supporting excellence in the intercollegiate programs offered at Elizabethtown College. We are promoting connections and involvement with and among Elizabethtown College Alumni Association members, students, as well as the greater college community. And we are also assisting and enhancing and also sustaining the competitiveness of the athletics program. Our Blue Jay Athletic Association is more than 10 years old. We support 22 sports. We are each connected here tonight to the Blue Jay family here in many ways. We are fellow alums, family and friends, community members, and of course, college staff who have spent much time supporting the athletic program and this special celebration. This event recognizes Elizabethtown College's outstanding alumni, athletes, and supporters. Tonight we'll honor deserving recipients with the Elizabethtown College Ira R. Herr Athletic Hall of Fame Award, the Blue Jay Association Distinguished Alumni Award, and the Joseph A. Whitmore Service to Student Athletes Award. You will meet those special alumni athletes who have made outstanding contributions to Elizabethtown College's athletic program and beyond the campus, those who have made outstanding accomplishments in their professional career and in volunteer contributions to society, and finally, those who have contributed consistently to positively influence the lives of Blue Jay student athletes. Each of these awards are significant and special, and the awardees will be forever honored in the history of E-Town College. We sincerely appreciate the athletic contributions made by all of our student athletes, coaches, assistant coaches, athletic director, and many behind-the-scenes college staff and volunteers, and especially our alumni athletes. And special thanks tonight goes to Ben Osterhout, Senior Associate Director of Alumni Giving, for his effort in the support of this signature event, and also to our college dining services for the delicious meal we are about to enjoy. It's really exciting and such an honor to celebrate together the accomplishments of the outstanding alums tonight. Enjoy your evening, and now for the fun stuff. I would like to introduce to you our president, Dr. Carl Strickwerda.
Thank you, Helen, and thanks to all of you for joining in what's a tremendous evening. It's always one of my favorites every year. I really appreciate particularly those who have come from far, family, friends, relatives, extended family who've come here to help celebrate the achievements of Blue Jay Athletics. When I go around the country meeting alumni and parents, over and over again I hear about the impact that playing as a varsity athlete at Elizabethtown College, the impact that has made on people's lives. People have learned discipline, teamwork, integrity, respect for others, and the product of what discipline can produce if one concentrates on a goal. And that's what we're all really here to celebrate tonight. It's about some of the great athletes that we've had and really the larger spirit of Blue Jay Athletics. I appreciate all of your support. We've had another great athletic year. We've won championships. We're close to the top of the Landmark Conference, competing extremely well against even a few schools that are larger than ours. Lots of championships, a lot of individual awards. There are also great traditions that we're building, like some of the ones that the people we're going to honor tonight have done. So it's exciting to be here with you. Remember, we're going to still do great things in the future. You can see there the Bauer Center that we will hope to break ground on this coming fall, that we hope to have active within about a year and a half. That's the product of people's commitment to this institution. success of many of our sports are because people have given generously of their time and their talent and their treasure to make those varsity sports very successful. I'm excited to say, too, that we're adding 2 new sports. We're going to add women's golf and men's volleyball very shortly, so it brings us up to 24 varsity athletic sports, really keeping more opportunities alive for young men and women to really excel and to achieve. So thank you again for coming. This is a great way to celebrate the best that Elizabethtown College has to offer. And now I'd like to ask Bob Schlosser, Bob, would you come up and please give us the invocation?
Good evening. If you would please bow your head as we pray. Dear Lord, please bless the special Blue Jays whom we are recognizing tonight and their family and friends. Bless also the young men and women who departed this week from our institution for summer break and those who will graduate next weekend from our great college. Remember also those who sacrifice to help make our programs succeed and grow. Finally, bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts that we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Chris Morgan, class of 1991, and I'm proud to be the athletic director here at Elizabethtown College. We have a few of our athletic department staff members in attendance tonight, and I would like to introduce them. When your name's called, if you could just quickly stand, that would be great. Brian Falk, our director of track and field and head cross-country coach. Brian, there we go. Oh, now, skipper. Brian is here. Matt Heffelfinger, our director of athletic communications. Veronica Nolt, our head women's basketball coach. Skip Roderick, who I think already stood up, head men's soccer coach. Graham Small, assistant men's soccer coach. Dr. Gene Clemens, professor of religion emeritus and assistant men's soccer coach. Bob Schlosser, associate athletic director and head men's basketball coach. Kathy Steib, assistant athletic director and head softball coach. Eric Walker, head wrestling coach. And Joe Whitmore, physical education instructor and former head athletic trainer. Coach Joe. Just to that group, a real special thank you for all that you do for our student athletes in the college. A lot of hours go into your job, a lot of time away from family, and we appreciate that from our department. I know the college appreciates it, so thank you all very much. Real quick, a couple highlights that I'd like to give. We've had a real outstanding athletic year, and we're really proud of our student athletes, and I just wanted to share some of the successes that we have had. Our field hockey team won the Landmark Conference Championship, first time in program history, and first time since 1987 to win a conference championship. And they advanced to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2006. Our cross-country teams swept the Landmark Championships for the 3rd year in a row. It's the 16th conference championship all-time for our men's team, the 10th consecutive conference title for our women's team, and their 11th overall. The women's cross-country team finished 3rd in the NCAA regionals at DeSales, George, and that was where the Deer took out a couple of runners, if anybody saw that. Fortunately, it was not any Elizabethtown runners. And our women went to the national championship meet for the 4th consecutive year. Men's soccer was a Landmark Conference runner-up and received an at-large bid to the NCAA championship for the first time since 2006 and advanced to the 2nd round. This winter, our women's indoor track and field team won the program's first Landmark title. And I think they knocked off Moravian, who had won it 8 or 9 years in a row. So that was a nice accomplishment for them. And just last week, our women's tennis team won their 8th straight conference championship and qualified for their 8th consecutive NCAA Division III championship tournament. when they went up to Middlebury, Vermont for the second year in a row. They lost their first round match yesterday to Skidmore, but another great season for the women. And our men's lacrosse program just won their first ever conference championship and qualified for the program's first NCAA tournament appearance, where they played a pretty good match on Wednesday, but fell to number 10 F&M. And our baseball team is currently at the Landmark Championship down at Catholic. For the second year in a row, they're in the championship game, and with a win tomorrow on Mother's Day, they'll capture their first conference title since 2009, and they will qualify for the NCAA Regionals, which will be later this week. Carl had mentioned it earlier about the Landmark President's Cup. Last year we finished third. This year we're currently in second. If baseball wins tomorrow, if my calculations are right, I think we actually get the Landmark President's Trophy, which would be really nice. So no pressure on our baseball team. On another note, not necessarily a highlight, but men's basketball coach Bob Schlosser is retiring from our department. 27-year collegiate coaching career, 364 victories. And Bob, we were fortunate that he spent all 27 of his collegiate seasons here at Elizabethtown. Led the Blue Jays to 3 conference championships, 4 trips to the NCAA tournament, and national runner-up finish in 2002. Bob, thank you for everything you've done. You'll definitely be missed. The real reason that I'm up here tonight is actually to present the Distinguished Student Athlete Award, and Vice President Marianne Calenda was going to join me, but our recipients aren't with us. So I'm just going to read what the award is and give them their kudos. The Distinguished Student Athlete Award, it's a Blue Jay Athletic Association Distinguished Student Athlete Award, recognizes the Elizabethtown College student athlete who have distinguished themselves in areas of academic excellence, athletic achievement, service, and leadership. The recipient of this award demonstrates the ideals of citizenship and sportsmanship and personify the college motto, Educate for Service. This year's winners, who unfortunately are not with us, from men's lacrosse, Joe Clark. From baseball, Kevin Elwell, who's in the Landmark Championship right now. And from field hockey and women's lacrosse, Addie Stang. And Addie was not able to be with us tonight. She was at the reception if you had a chance to meet her. But she was invited to go to a play tonight that her best buddy was performing in. And he actually works in the dining service, so that's why Addie isn't with us. But 3 great recipients of this award, and just some amazing accomplishments. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to this year's Hall of Fame class, our Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, and the Joseph A. Whitmore Outstanding Service Award recipients. So thank you very much.
My name is Ben Osterhout. I am a member of the class of 2005, and I did not play any sports here. One of these things is not like the others. But I have had the opportunity for the last decade to help organize these events, and it is my honor to introduce the Hall of Fame inductees this evening. I would ask President Carl Strickwerda and Lois Herr, member of the class of 62, the daughter of the infamous Ira R. Herr, to come up on stage to help with the presentations. And I think it's appropriate that the first group that we are recognizing this evening is actually the 1935-36 women's basketball team. They were led by the infamous coach, Ira R. Herr. They were the first team in E-Town history to go undefeated in any sport. And just a little fact, we've had women's sports just as long as we've had men's sports. And they were the first undefeated team. They went 11-0-1 that season. Moravian got in the way at the end, but these things happen. The blue and gray held 5 opponents to 10 points or fewer and outscored opponents 452-183 for the season. For those of you who aren't women's basketball historians, the game was a little bit different at that time. They played in 3 different thirds of the court, and they had 2 players in each section and rovers in the middle section, and It's an interesting idea. If you ever have time, sit down with Yanni Kaufman and she will tell you the whole story of basketball throughout the year. The 11 victories stood as a program benchmark for 11 seasons. Further highlighting how special that season was, the 1935-36 team's 11 wins were tied for second most in a season for the program's first 40 years. Now, unfortunately, we do not have any of the members of the team able to be with us, but joining us on stage, if they would, is Donna Walton Gibbs, member of the class of 1980. She is the daughter of Dorothy Hollinger. Donna, if you could come up with us. And Sarah Grove, class of 2008, and Emily Grove, class of 2010, who are the granddaughters of Mary Posey Grove, to accept... So on behalf of Elizabethtown College, the Elizabethtown College Alumni Association, and the Blue Jay Athletic Association, we are proud to induct the 1935-36 women's basketball team into the Ira R. Her Athletic Hall of Fame. Emily, hold that other one up just a little bit. What Emily is holding is a team photo of the team. So. Donna, Sarah, Emily, if you'd like to say a few words.
Well, I'm not the only one from my family here. Two of my mother's sons are also here, Lee Walton and Dwight Walton. They're back there, along with their wives, and my husband is here. We knew our mother. I knew my mother in her middle age. I was born later on, and it was hard to imagine her playing center on a basketball team. But she told me that when she got to campus, she came from a farm and she came from a Mennonite family, and so what she was doing was unusual to come to college. And she was in a 2-year program, the secretarial program. And she told me when she got to campus that she was recruited for the basketball team because she had height. And she said, Donna, all I had to do was get the ball to my team. And that led to, the awesome team that it was. And she was really proud of this. For her 90th birthday, I put together a PowerPoint slideshow and included that story in the slideshow, and she was in tears that I would remember that, and that was such an important part of her memory. And I am just really thrilled that the Groves are here because Mary Grove and Mary Posey and Dorothy Metzler were friends through their whole lives. We were all back there talking about visiting Mary Grove, and Mary would send us Christmas presents every year. And so the current women's coach of the basketball team was back there, and I was telling her that story, and she was like, oh, I want that story to be a story that current women on the team hear, that those friendships can last a lifetime. My mother passed away in December of 2015, and this is a wonderful way to honor her this Mother's Day weekend.
everyone. Pull it up on my phone. Okay. Our grandmother, Mary Kathleen Posey Grove, was a member of this team. They must have been quite a team, we imagine. And imagine is a big part of what we've been able to do since Mary flew away in 1990 when Emily and I were both very young. We never got the chance to talk with her about her teammates, the ones pictured in the team photo that has been hanging in the stairwell of our home ever since we've been able to have memories. And we missed the chance to learn about her time with the team. And we missed the chance to learn about women's athletics, especially during such a trying time as the Great Depression. However, by gathering today in the spirit of honoring athletic achievement and celebrating the powerful things that women can do when they come together in teams, we get a little closer to knowing more about Mary's story. And we are grateful and honored to be here today with our parents, Cindy and Terry. We still do like to imagine what it would be like, though, to be on her team. We know that teams look and feel a lot like families, and with a family member of ours on their team, there's a lot to consider. Mary was from a Pennsylvania Dutch farming family, and we imagine that she brought to her team family a lot of those farm family values, including the idea of working hard, working together, getting the job done, and not wasting time. We also know that Mary was the oldest girl in her large family and that she helped raise her younger siblings. So on her team, we imagine she was probably somewhat of a maternal leader, but was probably also harsh, impatient, and stubborn, but Emily and I don't know anything about that. We know that Mary became a teacher, and she probably brought a lot of her resourcefulness and sharp smarts from the classroom onto the court as well. Finally, we know that Mary was also a woman of faith with a servant's heart. And we imagine that at practice and before, during, and after games, she was seeking to lovingly and faithfully serve her teammates and their goals. This one is easy for us to imagine because we've seen that same culture of loving kindness and faithful service passed down to and demonstrated by our own parents. And we hope that we have continued that tradition. So thank you for allowing us the time to share what we do know about one of those basketball players from that undefeated season in the 1930s. And thank you for giving us the space to imagine what the team and what our favorite and most valuable player, Mary Posey Grove, would have been like. Congratulations to all of the inductees, to Mary, and to the women's basketball team of 1935 and 1936.
I don't think this conversation's going to end anytime soon. Our next honoree this evening is George Crampton. George, if you would come up on stage. George was a visionary in the midfield for Elizabethtown during the 93-94 seasons. He produced 2 of the top 10 single-season assist totals on his way to 89 career points, 2 conference championships, and a pair of NCAA Division III tournament appearances. George racked up 18 assists as a senior captain in 1994, second most in a season in program history, as the Blue Jays went 19-4 and won the Middle Atlantic Conference Championship. The postseason accolades flowed in for Crampton, who supplanted his 18 helpers with team highs of 15 goals and 48 points. He was also a MAC Commonwealth All-Star in 1993 when he put up 14 goals and 13 assists for a team-leading 41 points in the Jays' run to a 21-3 record, MAC championship, and NCAA second-round game. Ladies and gentlemen, Ira R. Her inductee, George Crampton.
Thank you, Ben. And congratulations to all the other inductees. It's an honor to be here with you tonight. E-Town became my home in the fall of 1993. When I left Dublin, Ireland in 1991 to play soccer at Mercer County Community College, I think often about how brave my parents were to say goodbye, not knowing what my future held for me in America. Back then, there was no FaceTime, email or cell phones, and landlines were fairly expensive. I remember that E-Town was always at the top of my list of colleges that were recruiting me after my experience at Mercer. In fact, when I committed to E-Town, I remember thinking, I'm the first member of my family actually having an opportunity to go to college and earn a degree. I knew what that meant for my parents, and I'm sure that tonight they are beaming with pride from heaven. I graduated with a degree in elementary education. Not having been a great student, this wasn't easy, and I spent a lot of time studying and doing class projects. Student teaching in the Hershey School District was such a wonderful experience, and it was then that I really knew I wanted to be an educator. Today, I'm not only an educator at DeSales University, where I am the head men's soccer coach and physical education instructor, but I'm also director of coaching for Western Lehigh United Soccer Club near my home, and I get to coach my daughter's U12 team, which we play in the state final this Saturday. My mum was always amazed, actually more like confused, that no one could earn a living being a soccer coach in America. She'd often ask me, when am I going to get a real job? But much like my mentor, Skip Roderick, I love what I do, and I really have never worked a day in my life. But actually, I do it with a lot more hair. When looking back at my time at E-Town, some things just stick out and will always be among my best memories. Scoring the winning conference goal in our home field in front of E-Town fans versus our arch-rival Messiah with 13.4 seconds left on the clock. How can I be so sure of the time? Well, Gene Clemens captured it. It's on his camera with me under the scoreboard and all the alumni from Alumni Hill on top of me. Thank you, Gene, for all the great photographs that you took so I can share them with my family now. I don't need the photo to remember what a cold and rainy day that was, and me there with 3 jerseys on. I remember during a stoppage in the game, Skip talking to me and saying, "Hey, scored a goal, I'm soaked to the bone." At the end of the game, he said, "Could you have waited any longer?" I loved playing in the Marshmallow Bowl games. Sometimes there would be a few thousand people watching the game. My first one was at Messiah, and scoring the winning goal again was great. I got pelted with marshmallows after I scored. I always seemed to do my best work when we played Messiah. There was such a huge E-Town rival that I often joked that when I have finally had kids, that they would never, ever attend Messiah. My son goes to DeSales, and we have been pushing E-Town into DeSales with my daughter. We'll see what happens. One's achievements in life are never one's alone. My mind is filled tonight with memories of my adopted American parents who opened their home and their lives to me when I came to E-Town, and are certainly looking down from heaven also tonight, proud of their adopted son. I recall with joy in my heart my teammates, some of the best players on the pitch. One in particular, my roommate, Dan Webb. Dan, you're the finest goalkeeper I've ever had the privilege of playing alongside. There were days when homesickness and stress of studying got to me. You were always there to talk me off the edge, and thank you very much. Dr. Paul Rice, now retired, but I occasionally see him at the DeSales soccer games, was my academic advisor. He helped me carve out semesters and put me on the right path to success. I am forever grateful for his wisdom. And while Dr. Rice worked on me academically, assistant coaches Phil Good and Graham Small were 2 strong pillars of strength for me, and I thank them always for pushing me. There is one person who had the most profound effect on me as a player, as a coach, and as a man. I admire him as my coach. I learn from him as my mentor. I now count on him as my friend and colleague. Words cannot describe the impact you have had on me in so many areas of my life. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Skip. In finishing up tonight, I'm delighted that my wife, daughter, and my in-laws are here to share this honor with me and to show them why E-Town is so special to me. Thank you all for making this very long trek to be here. And again, thank you for tonight's honor. I will treasure this forever. God bless and thank you.
The next honoree this evening is Dane Delosier. Dane, if you'd come forward. Dane joined Coach Ken Ober's team during his sophomore year and promptly won 29 matches. He capped his return to the sport of wrestling with a 4th place finish in the 177-pound weight class at the MAC Championships. 1 year later, Delosier was standing on the podium in Augustana, Illinois, as an All-American. Delosier, the MAC champion at 177 pounds as a junior, took 8th in the NCAA Division III Championship to become the 10th All-American in program history. He won the Mount Union Invitational and went unbeaten in dual matches, a 21-0-1 record on his way to an overall record of 34-5-1 with 7 pins. Delosier's 34 wins still ranked 10th in a season all-time at Elizabethtown. While Dane was good on the mat, he was also good in the classroom. He was the first Blue Jay wrestler to earn Scholar All-American honors from the Division III Wrestling Coaches Association, doing so in 1991, and was also an academic All-America nominee. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce into the Ira R. Herr Athletic Hall of Fame, Dane Delosier.
I'll never touch that speech George just gave, so don't get excited there yet. By the way, I had to look at that picture. I had completely forgotten what hair looks like. So by the time I was 26, it was long gone, bought the clippers, gave up on the barber, everything. So anyway, thank you for the honor. I am much better at this when I'm standing in front of people talking about someone else or something else, and I do it a lot. I'm terrible at it whenever I am talking about myself, so you're probably seeing that. Anyway, probably one of the funny stories that would relate to that is I had the honor of also being the homecoming king 1 year. I can't even tell you what year it was. And it was in the same way I didn't even know I was in it until the last minute, and I even tried to get my name out of it because I didn't want to be standing in front of everybody. Well, that was too late, and I got stuck. But anyway, I think I owe a tip of the hat to a few entities. Certainly the Institute of Wrestling. It gave me the tools to tackle some of the toughest things that I've faced in my life, cancer being one 10 years ago. So glad to know that I'm past that and didn't even really think about it. It was just another opponent standing there across the mat that I was going to go take on. Anyway, the sport did a fantastic number of things for me. It gave me a fantastic toolbox for the life I was about to live. The college did as well. My mother was one that suggested coming to Elizabethtown, and it was really around the occupational therapy program. And when you're 18, you really have no idea what you want to do, of course. So that didn't necessarily work out. It was a fantastic program. It didn't really fit me at the time. But I did make the change, and it turned into a real love for the Institute, and I'll say a gratitude that I can't really express very well. Elizabethtown gave me a place to learn how to, grow up and really figure out what I wanted to do. And it was a gentleman I met here that's not affiliated with the college. It was a friend's father who gave me my first elbow into my professional career, and he said, if you're going to go on that interview, you got to get a suit, son. And I did, and it was probably the elbow I really needed, and really became kind of the beginning of the journey. So anyways, much like with wrestling and applying those tools that I gained from both institutes, it has gone very well. So anyway, I want to thank my mom, my sister, my wife, and my 4-year-old son, Aiden, for coming and sharing it with me, and thank you all.
The next inductee that I would like to present is Emily Morris Eckert. If Emily would come forward. Emily earned 6 all-conference honors between her 2 sports of softball and women's volleyball, and earned an all-region nod in softball. She holds the distinction as one of only 3 players in the softball's program's 39-year history to earn all-conference recognition 4 times. She was an all-conference MAC conference second team as a shortstop as a freshman in 2001, before cementing herself as the premier player at the position over the next 3 years. With a pair of 400 seasons at the plate and a junior season of 394, so let's just round that up to 400. Morris claimed a spot on the All-MAC Commonwealth Conference first team in 2002, 3, and 4. Renowned with the bat and glove, she was also a standout hitter with the women's volleyball team and remains one of the best two-way players to pass through Thompson Gym. She amassed the 2nd most digs, the 5th most kills in team history, while helping Elizabethtown to 58 victories. She holds the school's career record for digs per set, 4.97, and is 3rd in kills per set. She set a program single match record with 44 digs against CCNY in 2003, only to tie the mark a week later. She's an overachiever. You got to set your record and then break it. She would go on to top the century mark in career service aces and blocks. She was voted to the All-MAC Commonwealth first team as a senior in 2003 and claimed a spot on the All-MAC Commonwealth second team following the 2000 season, her rookie year. Now, on a side note, inducting Emily into the Hall of Fame was not easy. She was supposed to have been inducted last year. It happened to be her wedding day that we picked to have the induction ceremony. So we said, okay, the opportunity is here this year. Well, it's her birthday. So her husband did not have to buy her dinner tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, the birthday girl and new Ira Are Her Hall of Fame inductee, Emily Morris Eckert.
It's true. I did do it. It happened. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee for this recognition. I feel very privileged to be included and honored to join this group of teams, individuals, and I'm very grateful to have so many people whom I love show their support, love, enthusiasm. There were several mentions of foam fingers, painting of chests, men and women alike. So I'm going to start with the most important. I would like to thank my parents, David and Mary Morris. I don't know if there's anyone more excited about this occasion than my mom, and rightfully so. While juggling countless obligations, they managed to be there for me and my teammates. With going to college 3 hours from home, I did not expect the same presence from my parents at games. But I was wrong. Weeknights, weekends, home games, away games, they were there. They provided me support when I felt defeated, provided guidance when I needed direction. They showed me what hard work and dedication looks like in every facet of life. I am beyond grateful that I was able to share so many memories with them. It was because of them that I was able to play and get an education, and I owe this honor to them. My dad would have loved being here and reminiscing with everyone, and then he would have walked around to each table at the end and collected all leftover programs, because who doesn't need 20 copies of the same thing? So, if you see me wandering, that's what I'm doing, in his honor. Having 2 older brothers, I was able to understand how awesome it is to have teammates early on in life, as well as develop what some might call a healthy thirst for competition. They could have easily excluded me from front yard football or whatever game was on the docket that day, but instead they chose to not only include me, but treat me as an equal. So, to Matthew and Jared, Thank you for never making me question my ability or value, and for pushing me past what some might consider to be acceptable and expected. Still to this day. My teammates. Some of you are here tonight, and I am so pumped to see all of you. This recognition belongs to you as well. After all, we played team sports. It was a team. You supported my strengths and compensated for my weaknesses. We spent countless hours together, more than we can even comprehend. And we played hard, and we laughed even harder, a lot. To every single coach who guided and encouraged me during the 20+ years of sports, thank you for imparting your wisdom of the game and inspiring me to push myself both physically and mentally. Kathy and Randall, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to play both sports. I realize that is not the norm, nor is it guaranteed, and I am extremely fortunate to have been able to do so and not have to choose, so thank you. You cared about me not only as the athlete and then as a coach for a couple years, but as a person. My friends, thank you for being there through it all. Wins, losses, injuries, and essentially the rest of life. I love you, and I cherished our friendships. You made college unique, and I love growing old with you, per se. And I'd be remiss without thanking the training staff, who I spent almost every day with for 4 years. Mike Swieger lovingly referred to me as job security. Not sure how to take that, but thanks for keeping me in the game, because I refuse to be told anything else. Tim, to my husband, who delayed this for a year, but couldn't be happier about it. I would have loved to share some of these memories with you and these moments, but I'll thank you for proving to me that good things come to those who wait, and for being my teammate forever. When reflecting on my sports career, I remembered specific games, trips, seasons, accomplishments, but I continually came back to feelings, the feeling you get, which, when I think about it, it makes sense. Sport is, always was, more than the techniques, the wins and losses, career bests, history books. The feeling of anticipation when you stepped up to the plate or you headed back to the service line. The feeling of calm when I looked at my teammates and knew we had each other's backs. The feeling of disappointment when I came up short or couldn't quite make the play. The feeling of pride in navigating both sports without feeling like I shortchanged the teams or myself. And the feeling of excitement when you won. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And thank you, E-Town, for providing me not just a lifetime of memories, but a lifetime of feelings.
Our next inductee this evening is Aaron Fisher. Aaron, if you'd come forward. There's no easier way to put this than Aaron was a star in the women's cross country and track programs. She won the Middle Atlantic Conference Cross Country Championship meet 2 years, in 2006 and 2007, earning Runner of the Year both years. As a senior in 2007, Aaron carried the momentum from her MAC title to regionals, tearing around Lehigh University's Goodman campus to become the first and only Blue Jay to win a Mid-East Regional Championship meet. At the 2007 NCAA Division III Championships in Northfield, Minnesota, she took 15th place in the nation to etch her name in Elizabethtown Women's Cross Country Record Book as its second All-American. She added an all-MAC second team finish in 2005 to her first team performances in 2006 and 2007. On the track, she was just as fast. Fisher took gold in the 5,000 meter run and distance medley relay at the 2008 MAC Indoor Championships. She qualified for the NCAA D3 Indoor Championships in the 5K, finishing 10th. The accolades go on and on. In fact, with all of the accolades, she was probably 12 seasons in sports, right? All four? 3 seasons, 4 sports, or 4 years rather. She was, in fact, the only junior to be named a Distinguished Student Athlete Award winner from the Blue Jay Athletic Association that is open to juniors and seniors, and received a postgraduate NCAA scholarship and was NCAA Women of the Year finalist in 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce Erin Fisher.
Thank you. It's an honor to be inducted with everybody here tonight and join the ranks that have been inducted before, and also among all the athletes, the great athletes that haven't been inducted yet and that could have been chosen instead of me. I just have a couple thank yous to make, most especially to my coach, Mike Dager, who was here for 3 years with me, and then Brian Falk, who came in my last year. It was a pleasure to work with all of them. I owe a lot to Mike, especially being here my first 3 years. But I actually owe a lot to Skip too, because we met him when my parents and I were visiting the college before I decided where I was going, and he was much more excited about me joining the cross-country team than Mike Dager was. I think it worked out okay, and so I thank Skip for that. I do have to thank my parents also for making a lot of exotic vacations out to the Midwest, where a lot of our meets were. That was, I think, several of their vacations over the years. They get to go a little bit more fun places now, probably, that I'm not running. And also, especially a big thank you. I couldn't have done it without my teammates. It would be impossible to do this alone, and I thank the teammates who came before me, the ones who ran with me, several of which are here tonight. We still get together. Several of us got together last weekend for a race out at altitude, which was not as much fun. Well, it was fun, but not as easy as we hoped it would be. Yeah, it's been a great 4 years here. And actually, I think it helped me get my current job, because my CEO was an ex-collegiate athlete himself, soccer, and so he doesn't know anything about running, but he knew I was on a collegiate team. He knows what that means as far as hard work and dedication, and maybe he'll give me a raise now. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Greg Millen. Greg, if you'd come forward. Elizabethtown College has had a long history of Blue Jay athletics, so it's hard to be the first at something. Well, Greg has the honor to be the first Blue Jay men's golfer to be inducted into the Ira R. Her Athletic Hall of Fame. What makes Greg's accomplishments even more spectacular, he played 1 year. It was in the spring of 1988, and it was under the coaching of Royal Snavely that the Blue Jay golf team came back after a 9-year layoff. Greg averaged an 18-hole score of 77.8. That's all 18 holes, not just the front 9 for some of you. Still the 4th best single season average in program history, on his way to earn team MVP honors. He won the 15-team Dickinson College Invitational at the Carlisle Country Club and was runner-up at the Middle Atlantic Conference Championship. He then earned an at-large invitation to the NCAA Division III Championships in Greensboro, North Carolina, where he placed 25th out of 120 competing golfers and won the longest drive competition. I'm not sure what that gets you besides, a nice story, but. Greg, as the first golfer into the Ira R. Her Athletic Hall of Fame, I am proud to induct you today. Congratulations.
Well, thank you everybody for coming here tonight, and especially my mom for all those years of taking me to golf lessons, traveling all over the place. Before that, it was ice hockey. Then we moved to Virginia. So that's where golf really began in earnest. And of course, to my dad, who's no longer here. He's passed away 5 years ago. Thanks also to my wife and three of my 6 children who are here, and my good friends as well. So I'm just going to tell 2 short stories. Coming out of high school, I played Division I golf at Oral Roberts and then at Penn State. However, the problem was I did more partying at both schools than I did studying. And I was a good golfer, but I was a terrible student. And you're a bad student when you don't go to class. So I didn't attend a lot of classes, and I was just a wreck, and that was my life. So about halfway through my college career, if you would call it a career at that point, my parents said, you know what, you're not applying yourself, and we're not going to pay for school anymore. So that was a good thing for me at the young age of 19. It was a bit of a wake-up call. And so I took some time off from school at that time, and a big part of my life changed. I became a Christian in 1986. So at that point, I tried to figure out, well, what do I do? What do I do, Lord? Where do I go? And I ended up coming to E-Town that summer, and I took 2 summer courses. And one was with Professor Hugh Evans, and he was phenomenal. And I'm like, wow, if that's the type of professor that's at Elizabethtown, I need to come here and finish out my academic college career. So I wasn't quite halfway done with credits because I hadn't applied myself a whole lot the last few years. But between summer school and I had 2 years of summer school and like 18 or 19 credits a semester, I finally was able to finish. The interesting thing was when I came here as a transferred in student as a junior, there was no golf team, which was fine with me because to me, golf and partying, that whole thing, it was too important. And golf in particular was like, kind of like all I did. I was like sort of all I was known for. So it was good to be able to focus in on academics. And so I really went from being a student with a GPA of well below 2.0 to I think I ended up with like a 3.6 here at Elizabethtown because I went to class. That helps. Well, lo and behold, they started a golf team my senior year, which was a shock. And I'm, not even thinking about playing any more college golf, just going to get my degree and move on. Well, I really felt like that was a gift kind of back to me for applying myself. And so, of course, I wanted to play. And Coach Snavely, it was his first shot at coaching. So we kind of together worked out how that gets done. And I was, of course, voted the captain of the most experienced player. So we got it done together, and his lovely wife Frida's here tonight. So those were great years. He was a wonderful coach, and I just wanted to mention something. Frida, I went to the national championship down in Greensboro, and she brought me some memorabilia that she's kept for 29 years. So she brought me a shirt from the Greensboro Country Club for the 1988 NCAA championships. That would have been your husband's. And she brought me a couple other things which are over there, which I'm not going to spend time on, but just thank you so much for all the memorabilia that you brought me tonight, including the program guide from the national championships. Just wonderful, wonderful things. So I appreciate that, Frida, and I loved your husband. He was a fine man. The other story I just want to tell involves also an apology to the college. So this is the second time I've been invited to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. 1996 was the first time. And at that time, I believe my wife and I had 3 kids. She was probably pregnant with our 4th. And that Sunday came and went, and we forgot to come. So, just like tonight, we would have had a table, however, it would have been empty. Flat out forgot to come. And that's, I think, what life is like a bit with 3 children, 5 and under, and a pregnant wife. And I take full responsibility. My son, Zachary's here, who was 5. He wasn't quite old enough to remind me, hey, Dad, we need to get to the Hall of Fame ceremony. So we missed it. So time goes by, and my son, my other son, is in a volleyball tournament here at Elizabethtown College. So I'm here, and I'm walking down the halls and looking at all the Hall of Fame athletes, and I'm looking for my name. And what I come to find out later was you're invited to be inducted, which is a whole lot different than being inducted. So my name was nowhere in the halls. So I thought about that for many years, told the story. And so some of my good friends give me a hard time about it. You know, they won't stop. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can bring this to an end. I can go back to the college, humble myself, and see if they would once again reach out with the invitation. So through Steve Capaferri, who serves here on the leadership team, I said, Steve, do you think maybe the college would be open to righting the wrong, or not their wrong, my wrong? And yeah, as you obviously can tell, they took it up once again and re-invited me back many, many years later. So I want to apologize to the college. I want to apologize to the athletic department for standing you up. 1996, it certainly wasn't intentional, and I'm honored to be here tonight to receive this. So thank you very much.
I did not plan the Hall of Fame in 1996, so otherwise he would have been here. So, our next inductee is Mr. Bob Parambo. Bob, if you'd come forward. Bob's success on the hardwood was an integral part of the men's basketball program, and he was a member of the 2001-2002 national runner-up team. He averaged better than 16 points and 6 rebounds per game as the Blue Jays made their deepest tournament run in program history and won a program record 29 games. Parambo was named D3Hoops.com All-America Honorable Mention and D3Hoops.com All-Mid-Atlantic All-Mid-Atlantic Region First Team after leading the 2001-2 team in scoring, free throw percentage, and blocks, and ranking second in rebounding and three-point field goals. That was during his senior year. He climbed all the way to 14th on the Blue Jays all-time scoring list with 1,350 points. He was a 3-time All-MAC Commonwealth Conference selection, garnering first-team recognition in 2001-2 and second-team spots in 1999-2000 and 2000-2001. He was previously recognized and entered into the Ira Arher Athletic Hall of Fame as part of the 2001-2 national runner-up team back in 2012. On a side note, that team was the team when I was a freshman here, and it was great because that's how I thought basketball was supposed to be. You were supposed to go to the national championship every year. So maybe next year. But ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Mr. Bob Parambo.
Good evening. Thanks. This is really special to me. E-Town College is just a wonderful place. I just consider myself very fortunate. I need to start by thanking my parents and my family. They've always been extremely supportive of my athletics, and they provided me the opportunity to attend E-Town College. Without them, none of this would have been possible. 19 years ago, I visited several similar schools, But as soon as I heard Coach Lasher talk about Coach Barry Acker and how serious they were about the JV program, I just knew this was the place for me. Just because they had created an environment with a blue-collar, hard-working, pay-your-dues sort of place, and I just fit in perfectly. I just only applied to one school, and I've never second-guessed or regretted that decision. It just worked out great. From the first day I spent on campus, it was just a good fit. The upperclassmen at the time were very welcoming and encouraging. So for my first day, I had a great group of friends right from the start. Made the transition from high school to college very easy. I mean, over the years, many of these teammates, they changed, but the overall culture of a team working together didn't. So because of that, my teammates became my best friends off the court, and that transitioned into great success on the court. I don't think they made a conscious decision, my teammates, that is, but together they were able to fully maximize my strengths, which was basically scoring, and cover up for my glaring weaknesses, which was basically everything else. We also had the pleasure to play for coaches that pushed us to be the best that we could. It wasn't always fun, but it made us better players and people than we ever could have imagined. Together we accomplished more than any of us would have ever thought possible. I have too many memories to list, but we'll never forget the feeling of cutting down the nets at Catholic or taking that trip to Salem. All of the success on the court was nice, but most importantly was the relationship and bonds I formed with my coaches and teammates that can still continue to this day. I know this doesn't happen at other institutions or everywhere. It's not a given. I just consider myself very lucky. They're very important to me, and I look forward to continuing those friendships into the future. So thank you for this award. I hope to get to do this again in the near future with the roles reversed and some of my teammates that are here today supporting me up here receiving their awards and me down there supporting them. Thank you.
The next inductee this evening is Brenda Wessel Spackman. Brenda, if you'd come forward. As a leader in the women's basketball program, she is the only three-time conference most valuable player in Elizabethtown women's basketball's storied history. She produced 1,488 points and 582 rebounds, while leading the Blue Jays to the 1995 Middle Atlantic Conference Championship and 2 NCAA Division III tournament appearances. She is one of just 14 Elizabethtown players to register more than 1,000 points and 500 rebounds in a career. She would average a career-high 15.4 points per game as a sophomore and no less than 14.4 points per game in her final 3 seasons, earning all MAC Commonwealth First Team and MAC Commonwealth MVP accolades in each. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Ira R. Her Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Brenda Wessel Spackman.
It's truly amazing being here tonight. Every time I come back to the college, I feel like I'm coming home, which I think a lot of us feel the same way, having gone to school here. I feel so humbled to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. It's just a tremendous honor, so I'm very grateful to college for this and for having me here tonight. I started playing basketball in 3rd grade only because my older sister joined the team. She was outgoing and the brave one, and I was shy and so glad just to have her to follow. Basketball truly became my passion, and I've had a lot of opportunities to go places and do things that I never thought I'd have that opportunity to do. As Ben mentioned, winning the MAC championship my freshman year and getting into the national tournament. Also taking a trip to the Bahamas where we played basketball on some outdoor courts and celebrated Junkanoo on New Year's celebration. I also had the opportunity to take a tour of Italy for 3 weeks. So it was just an amazing experience. But all of these experiences did not compare to the people in my life that ultimately impacted me, built me up, and are the reason why I'm standing here today. So I'd like to thank them. Ed Olden, the recruiter, who saw potential in me before I even saw it in myself. To my coaches, Bob Weary, and especially Yvonne Kaufman, and Veronica Nolt, who's here tonight, for the opportunities they gave me, as well as their tireless dedication into helping me become a better player and also a better person. My teammates for challenging me, believing in me, picking me up, and for just making being a part of this team so much fun. I'd like to mention them because they are a part of this honor as well. Chris Cruzy, Heidi Metzger, Jen Harleman, Julie Ogachek, Tammy Herman, Jody Hilligus, Lynn Hurley, Maggie Nellis, Gina Kaiser, Missy Light, Allison Lucy, Kim Boback, Shantae Stansel, Andrea Thompson, Jessie Goldstein, Carmen Childs, and several more. My experience would not have been the same without these ladies. Now to mention my family. For 4 years, I was very fortunate to have my grandparents attend just about every one of my games. Their love and support along this journey is something I will always treasure. So it's so special that I have my 93-year-old grandmother here with me today. She toured the campus with me for the very first time. We attended a men's and women's game, and it was at that moment that I realized that I wanted to be a Blue Jay. So, and because my grandparents attended so many of my games, they saw the good and sometimes they saw the not so good. So my grandfather always had a unique way of letting me know about this. He would send me letters, and sometimes I'd receive letters from my Dutch uncle. That's how he'd sign them. Those were the moments I knew I was in trouble. But he just had that uncanny way of letting me know when I needed to change my perspective a little bit. I'm also so thankful to have my mom, Elizabeth Council, here, my dad, Coleman, and my stepmom, Franny Wessel, here with me tonight. They've instilled in me the belief that I can do anything in life and be successful at it, that it will most definitely take hard work, but it will be so worth it. Nose to the grindstone, right, Dad? You made sacrifices so that all 4 of us kids would have opportunities. Thank you for mine. Last but not least, I have my 3 gorgeous men with me, my husband, John, and my 2 sons, JJ and Bryce. And they found the pool table back at the BSC, so I better hurry this up. But my husband's always been a rock, a support for me, challenged me to be the best version of myself, and so supportive when Veronica asked me to coach for 2 years here with the college. To my sons, you always continue to inspire me. I hope you always appreciate those who help you along in life, and may you feel the love and the support that I have felt here with this college community. Shortly after my basketball career ended, my grandfather said to me, you know, coming to E-Town and attending your basketball games was some of the best moments in my life. Mine as well. Thank you.
With that, I would ask that all of the Ira R. Her Athletic Hall of Famers who are in attendance to please stand. Past and present. Thank you, especially to our past members, for showing your support this evening to all of our current members. At this time, I'd like to introduce Joe Whitmore to present the Distinguished Alumni Award.
This will probably be one of the weakest talks, but it's so neat when so many people can just give it. But the people that I need to say something about have been so special. that I feel like I have to do it. Joe Herringer. I came to the college in 1968 to fill in for Owen Wright for a year while he was on sabbatical. I was so fortunate and happy that I was allowed to stay. I was on the faculty, coached, and was the first certified athletic trainer. Excuse me. Joe had been recruited for basketball at F&M, but he's decided to come to E-Town. I think people didn't realize what a great soccer player he was. He played on my JV team for a short while, and I had an opportunity to see his energy level and what a big heart he had. His size fooled you. He could hustle from one end of the field to the other, from side to side, covering the entire field and harassing the opposing team. He was definitely a team player and easy to work with. In basketball, Joe's long arms were a huge success. His leaping ability was unreal for his size, enabling him to dunk. When he got the rebounds, he could go back up and with those long arms, shoot over top of a lot of players. I don't know whether any record was kept on his steals, but he had to be unreal, which had to be unreal. E-Town had never won a championship, but with him, we defeated F&M for the conference title, and I know F&M was fairly disgusted. And I kind of like that feeling. On top of all these pluses, Joe was a friend and a very special person. He was liked by the faculty, coaches, team members, and fans. He has gone on to success and continues to support Elizabethtown College. I'd like to share a little story about Joe. He went to apply for a job in Texas. When he returned, I asked him, how did it go? He replied that the first person that interviewed him was very nice. And he thought, wow, this is going to be great. That person left and said he had to leave, but there would be another interviewer who would be in shortly. As Joe sat there, he was feeling pretty positive about how things were going. But then the second person came in, began to do everything he could do to frustrate Joe. Joe saw through this and stayed calm, and they ended up giving him the job, and the rest was history. Is Joe? The Blue Jay Athletic Association Joseph A. Whitmore Outstanding Service to Student and Athletes Award recognizes a member of Elizabethtown College community who has consistently gone above and below. Sorry, I'm not used. Should I start over? The recipient of this award is extremely dedicated to the Blue Jay athletics, and time again, he has given unselfishly to make the Blue Jay student athlete experience special. On behalf of the Blue Jay Athletic Association, it is with great honor that I present the Blue Jay Athletic Association Joseph A. Whitmore Outstanding Service to Student Athletes Award and Rawls name, and to Rawls name. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Joe, and thank you to the Elizabethtown College Athletic Association for this kind and generous award. Recently, I recruited a student that came to Elizabethtown College and asked what stuck out, and I thought it was kind of interesting, and I think a lot of people in this room wouldn't be surprised, but she said it was not only a beautiful campus, but such kind and gentle people. And I think about that, and I think that's the legacy that so many people in this room and have formed to create a tradition that has been ongoing, because beyond the bricks and mortar, it really kind of comes down to the people. And so I got introduced to Elizabethtown College by Coach Wright, the soccer player, and he introduced me to Mr. Gordon Bateman, the financial aid officer. And I remember leaving that experience and thinking to myself, man, those two people are they're just very kind and very gentle. And I thought to myself, this could be a really good fit. And as a result, they worked out a scholarship opportunity that ended up working out. And I give credit to those two individuals, because not only do I not think that I would have landed at Elizabethtown College, but I don't even think I would have gone to college at all. So that was the start of the journey here, of my journey. And we rolled into the soccer season. And my first year I played soccer, and the second season I played basketball. And the soccer team was just remarkable. So you talk about not only the coaches and the faculty and the staff and the administration, but the students. And that was one of the most remarkable group of individuals I had the privilege to play with. And so it was a great experience to start my career here at Elizabethtown College. And then, of course, Coach Joe, as everybody in this room knows, probably one of the greatest humanitarians that I've ever had the privilege to ever meet in my lifetime. And so that was onward and upward. And so my second year, I had a unique opportunity. The point guard for the Elizabethtown College basketball team quit school, and I decided, okay, I'll try two sports. And that led me into the introduction to Coach Don Smith. And Don Smith, as everybody probably has heard, and those some of us have witnessed, including myself, was a fierce and fiery competitor, was known as a legacy of kind of stomping his feet when he got upset with the referees and the players. Excuse me, that was more against the players and not the referees. But you know, off the court, Coach Smith was just such a kind soul, and he wrote me a letter. He was unable to attend this evening for sake of time, and also the emotionality of that letter. I won't read it, but you know, off the court, I ended up being a captain on the basketball team, and you know, you'd have these hour-long conversations about, you know, what are we going to do to improve the team. And Coach, I miss those conversations. And on to my academic career here. I had the privilege of having both Dr. Kenneth Kreider and Mrs. Carol Kreider as professors. And Dr. Kenneth Kreider I had him as a freshman. I was scared of the academics as well. So here we go into my academic career, And Dr. Kenneth Kreider's first homework assignment was to read a 1,276-page Russian novel entitled "And Quiet Flows the Don." And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm not going to read that. So fortunately, back then, and maybe even today, we had the mandatory student study halls. And I started to read this 1,276-page Russian novel with font size about this. And I fell in love with it, got hooked, aced the test, and didn't need any cliff notes. And he was so fiery and passionate, but again, off the academic side, when you got to know him, he was such a kind and gentle person. And Mrs. Carol Kreider, she was the department chair for business education, and my opportunity there was that I got my BS in business education. So I had the opportunity to have her on a number of occasions as an instructor. And wow, I mean, we formed this kind of informal mentorship and this special bond. And the Kreiders, I was at a time here at Elizabethtown College, I was at a crossroad, and Mrs. Kreider instinctively knew something was wrong. And both Dr. Kenneth and Mrs. Carol Kreider made a very kind gesture that, while I didn't take them up on that, it lifted the weight of the world off of my shoulders. And so as a result, I really truly believe if I hadn't had that support and that mentorship, I don't think I would have stayed in college, and I think I actually would have quit. So fast forward that, got my education, and then Yanni Kaufman, Coach Kaufman, knew her from coaching the girls team when I played with the guys team. And after graduation, she was instrumental in really getting me back involved with giving back to the college. And she actually called me. She couldn't make it. Mrs. Kreider called me. She couldn't make it. That's just the type of people that has come from this fine institution. And I think it's incumbent upon ourselves to be good stewards as well. And, you know, when you think about our journey, college, Elizabethtown College, becomes your home away from home and essentially your second family. And boy, am I grateful for the fact that I chose Elizabethtown College as my second family. And speaking of family, I want to thank my family over here for not only their support tonight, but for their support at always. And thank you again to Elizabethtown College for this award.
Good evening. My name is Hob Croson, a class of 1971, past president of Blue Jay Athletic Association and presently chairman of the Special Events and Program Committee. Tonight's a privilege and an honor to present the Joe Whitmore Award to Royal and Frida Snavely. As I look back at my career at Elizabethtown College and how I met Royal Snavely, after I was discharged from the service in '67, I decided to continue my education at Elizabethtown College. I decided I wanted to wrestle and get a degree in business administration. I had a difficult time my first year. When you're in the service for 4 years, obviously you're not involved in education, you're just trying to serve your 4 years and get out of the service. So it was a little difficult for me. The school curriculum in those days was really liberal arts. And also, as some of you recall, there was mandatory chapel. Does anybody remember that? We had mandatory chapel. So had a rough semester. And after the fall semester was over, my GPA was below 2.0. Greg can relate to it. So I had to meet with Dean Snavely. I met with him. And to my present surprise, it was a very informal meeting. He just emphasized that I need to work harder to improve my grades. And I need to improve my GPA, obviously, so I continue wrestling. And and wished me good luck. That was my first meeting with Royal, and we became good friends after graduation from college. Roy started at Elizabethtown College in 1965. He served in many roles at the college. He was the Dean of Men, Counselor, Dean of Students, a Mission Counselor, and of course, the golf coach for 6 years. Frida served as a switchboard operator starting in '68. If everybody can look at Alpha Hall, some of you remember where the switchboard was located. If you go and look at Alpha Hall, you would go up on the left side, go through the double doors on the right side, that's where Frida sat. And she was just phenomenal she was the voice of Elizabethtown College, performed her job efficiently connecting all calls to the proper destination. More importantly, her graciousness in the telephone calls and the compassion for those always made Elizabethtown College a special place that excludes personal attention and caring environment for all student athletes and students and parents at Elizabethtown College. I have some anecdotes I like to read. A couple of them here, I'll read them. One is from Carl Shaw. One of my most memorable experiences involved playing golf with Royal. Obviously, he loved to play golf. Over in York County, where he made his only hole-in-one, a feat that many golfers have not conquered. There was, of course, a par 3, a little downhill. His ball hit on the green with bounce and two found the bottom of the hole. I made Royal a little wooden ball holder to to accommodate several holes in one balls. That was the only ball to make that trophy, Carl Scholl. This is pretty funny. I think Royal and Frida visit us in Myrtle Beach one January. Dick and Royal played golf. The four of us went out to eat at Ryan's. Back at the condo, we sit in the living room. We would like to watch TV, Dick asked. We always like to watch Wheel of Fortune, Royal said. At 7 p.m., we turned it on. At 7:05, we looked at two of them on the couch. They were leaning against each other, fast asleep. They woke after it was over. This is another interesting story. Dick and Royal played a 9-hole course in the center of Winter Garden, Florida. The first hole had a long grassy fairway and a high rough down the middle of town's main street. If you sliced in a tee shot, the ball might end up upon a courthouse steps. On the 7th hole, this is very interesting. A marshal stopped them at a tee. Can't play this hole today. There's a funeral at the cemetery just off the 7th green. You might disturb the mourners and go to the 8th tee. After finishing the 9th hole, the attendant at the small clubs came out and handed each of us $2 because they did not play the 7th hole. I thought that was pretty interesting. One of his closest friends, who probably should be up here speaking, is Gordy Bateman. He sent me a few notes I would like to read here, and I think it sort of tells what Royal was about. Royal taught freshman class human potential, where each semester's classes were full of student athletes enjoying their special time, with him discovering their potentials from within, leading to an academic success despite being admitted to college at all at-risk students. This is something really important, what speaks highly of what Royal and Frida were about. Roy and Frida traveled all the way to Falls Church, Virginia in 1969 to interview Gordy Bateman for the open position of college dean of housing. At that time, I was a first lieutenant in the U.S. Army stationed at the Pentagon. I showed up the interview wearing my officer dress blues. Afterwards, I learned that Elizabethtown College was the Breslin College that emphasized peace, justice, and human dignity, obviously in uniform, correct? I thought for sure I would not receive the job offer. Much to my delight, however, Royal had been my attention beyond my uniform, invited me to the campus for an interview as my commitment to U.S. Army was completed. Our son was born the summer before our arrival on campus in Virginia. When I came to the campus for the first time, Frida watched over at the switchboard while I interviewed with several staff members at the college for the search committee. So there is Frida babysitting. Amazing. As you recall, Royal loved to play golf. I happened to play with him a few times, and he always beat me. He was a very good golfer and going with that, so, in dealing with that. During my time, I was working at Elizabethtown College. Royal and faculty members and staff, including Joe Whitmore. Remember those days, Joe? Yeah. We used to play handball. Anybody remember playing handball anymore? No. Racquetball, and Roy was a good athlete. And he had plenty of hard-fought games. I played golf with him. He was a good golfer, and he had a very low handicap. Roy worked for the college for 25 years, and Frida for 24 years. Before I finish up, I'd like to have Joe say a couple words. You can use that one, Joe.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. This might end up sounding a little bit rigged. And when I'm sitting back here with hearing aids, I can't hear what people are saying that way. And so I hope I don't repeat anything that he said. I went to Bridgewater College, and that's where I met my special wife and her sister and brother-in-law, Frida and Raul. At Bridgewater, Raul did some taping for the football team on which I played. We did odd jobs on the campus and became good friends. They were part of the reason that we decided to move to E-Town, and for over 45 years, we have lived 2 blocks apart. This is the part where it might be sounding rigged. Frida and Raul and their family contributed in many ways to the college and the athletic program. Their son, Dwayne, became an academic All-American in soccer. Royal spent much time making the frames of all our All-American and pictures that went around the entire gym. And it was so neat. If you forgot somebody's name, you could go look at it quick. And I remember so many athletes looking up on that wall or trying to find where they might be. I'm hoping that can be replaced. But he made the frames and gave them to the college. Freedom Royal and their family contributed in many ways to the college and the athletic program. Their son Dwayne became an academic All-American. I'm sorry I did that. Okay, now this next thing is just a tremendous gift that was given to me, and this will give you the best possible feeling of Rita and Raul. This was a student. I met Raul first when I needed help working on some out of the ordinary senior year stress. But I had been hearing Frida's sweet voice and welcoming on the college phone for years. Had I known what I know now, I would have jumped on the opportunity to have known Frida and Royal at the beginning of my college experience and not wait until the very end. They became my home away from home, the warm and kind, secure, generous, forgiving, loving place that we all search for at one point or another in our lives. Together, Frida and Royal displayed the spirit of Elizabethtown College to me. They served the community through committees, training, orientation, dinners, admission, and of course athletics. They enhanced the community, engaged people with generous love and interests, and always they would take time to listen to concerns and joys, other valuable words of encouragement and support. They adored the community. It was their home, and that's still the way things work. Their passion and their focus of their life work, they dedicated to building up all that interacted with. And I was one of the fortunate ones to have our lives intersect, finding a place of love and acceptance and sincerity. As far as athletics, I cannot remember a game, especially Saturday afternoon, soccer, and Saturday night and men's, women's basketball when I would go and not see them in the stands. They were always positive and enthusiastic, cheering, carried from the bleachers to and after the game, greetings of the players. They knew the players' names and stories and had just the right word of support and celebration. I never heard a negative word of them on the field or on the court. They sought out coaches with words of affirmation and saw each player, whether he was a major or she was a major contributor or sideline encourager, as a valuable, significant athlete, have an impact on the team, and they never missed an opportunity to tell them so. I remember in the 80s traveling with them to a basketball game as the women pursued and won the Division III national championships. Traveling distances was not a hardship for them, but rather another opportunity to support and their beloved community and its scholar athletes. I remember when Raul became the golf coach for the college, a passion of his and supported by Frida. He encouraged a new generation of college golfers, and I imagine was a dream come true for him, and yet another way he could contribute to the success of Elizabethtown athletics. I think what I have loved most about Freedom Royal over the 30-plus years I've known them is that they have lived life fully. They did not hold back. They weren't waiting for something else to happen. They loved deeply, they gave fully, and they cared intensely. They are a generous and gentle and inspiring, and have left those who have known and loved them and be loved by them all the better. And for that, I'm grateful. That was a really special, special letter.
You stay there. Sadly, Royal passed away in July of 2010 after a gallant fight with cancer. One of the things, he was an admirer of Arnold Palmer. In fact, when he retired, he received an autographed picture of Arnold Palmer. I think today they're playing 18 holes in heaven right now together. Frida, would you come forward, please? Let me take my glasses. Come on in, Joe. On behalf of the Blue Jay Athletic Association, Joseph A. Whitmore, a Sounding Service to Student Athletes Award, recognized a member of the Elizabethtown College community who has consistently gone above and beyond the call of duty to touch the lives of Blue Jay student athletes. The recipient of this award is extremely dedicated to Blue Jay athletics, and time again has given unselfishly to make the Blue Jay student athlete experience special. On behalf of the Blue Jay Athletic Association, it was a great honor that I present Blue Jay Athletic Association Joseph A. Whitmore Outstanding Service to Student Athletes Award to Royal and Frida Snabel.
I feel about as tall as I've ever felt before. And rest assured, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I am tremendously honored and filled with deep humility to be receiving this Joseph A. Whitmore Outstanding Service to Student Athletes Award for Royal and me. Our memories and camaraderie with the college community can never be surpassed. My lament is not having Royal here to experience this award. However, I am extremely happy that all my children are here tonight, and that's wonderful. That's great. Wow. A half minute has passed. There's a little more time, so bear with me and my little rhyme. Thank you so much for this cherished award, and like in all sports, I feel we just scored. A spectator in golf I could not be, but I applauded the coach with each victory. As many of you know, golf was Royal's great passion. Golfed his age, had hole-in-one, all in his true fashion. We spent many hours attending athletic events and had no complaints about the time that was spent on the bleachers, in the gym, or on the green, enjoying the companionship of all at the scene. Memories evoked me and gave me delight when faces of yesteryear came into sight. You'd be here all night if I named every name, but please rest assured you're in our Hall of Fame. So to all Blue Jay athletes, congrats to you. Royal and I enjoyed your talents, and we honor you too. My time is now up. Thanks from Royal and me. It is great being a part of our Blue Jay family.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program this evening. I want to thank everybody for coming. If all of the award recipients would stick around for a couple of group photos, and if any of the families of the recipients would like to get family photos, our photographer will take as many photos as the memory card will hold. So it's still a little wet out there, so drive safely. Happy Mother's Day, and thanks for coming.